wonderful eyes, with love, light, and tenderness, baby, they thrilled me through, they stilled me too, with wonderful, beautiful dreams of love.
If you think he sings well in the shower, so he should. He's Donald Smith, acclaimed by the critics as one of the world's best. There's no Australian operatic tenor with greater audience appeal. Donald Smith's home is at Earlwood in Sydney, but for only half the year. At other times, he's on the move around Australia, singing with the Australian Opera. He puts up thousands of miles a year, either driving himself interstate for the opera seasons, or trekking to and from Sydney Airport to travel to a one-night concert appearance. Opera has been described as complete theatre, combining music, singing, acting, and ballet. And it's in this scene that Donald Smith, former Queensland cane cutter, has made his mark. His favourite drink is beer, and off stage he's comfortable without a tie. But it's a different picture on stage. There, he's a star with all the frills and trappings. Singing authorities say a tenor often begins to sing at his best from 40 to 45. At 53, Donald Smith is probably at the height of his popularity, with successes overseas as well as in Australia. He's a recording artist as well as a stage performer. Recently, he made his first solo operatic album, and already there are plans for another solo record.
Actually, how's it going?
The album itself, at the moment, is going extremely well and hasn't stopped selling.
Donald Smith has been enthusiastically described as in the Caruso class. Certainly, he's very much a man of the people, as was the great Enrico. Here's Caruso as Canio in Pagliacci, one of his best-loved portrayals. The tragic clown is one of Donald Smith's most popular roles, too. Smith sings in the traditional full-throated Italian manner. A staunch family man, he and his wife, Joy, have 3 children, all married. His son, Rob, is a long-time Donald Smith fan. And now, as Robin Donald, he's following in his father's footsteps. He recently joined the Australian Opera as a principal tenor. Smith and Son had already united for concerts in Australia, and earlier in England, they'd made operatic history when they appeared together for the Sadler's Wells Company in Rigoletto. Squash is another mutual interest. They get together on a court whenever performances and rehearsals permit. Singing is a very physically demanding occupation. Smith and Son find the exercise on the squash court essential in helping to keep them fit for their exacting program with the Australian Opera. They have to sing throughout the year in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide and Canberra. The company also sends singers to Perth and Hobart for guest appearances. On stage, Donald Smith has to be dashing and vehement, for example, when he becomes a violent killer in Pagliacci. So, to ensure that a night at the opera won't be too exhausting, he needs his physical resources at a maximum. For 48 weeks of every year, he's either singing or preparing for another role. Donald Smith has been called the linchpin of the Australian Opera. He says he's seen opera's popularity in Australia increase in leaps and bounds since he entered professional opera with a visiting Italian company in the 50s. A natural person, he's the first to admit that he's not what he calls arty-crafty. Critics for years have used superlatives to praise him, but Donald Smith remains a down-to-earth man. Bryan Noonan spoke to him at the Sydney Opera House.
Well, how did you start in the singing business?
Many years ago, Brian, in Bundaberg. I used to play for the native football club, the junior footballers. My grandmother said to me, if we win the premiership that year, that she'd buy me a jumper or else I'd have to sing. So we didn't win the premiership, so I didn't get a jumper, so I had to sing, and I sang at Forresto Bundaberg, and from then on I more or less kept on singing.
Are there any problems associated with your singing?
With me personally, well, I do suffer a little bit from time to time, Brian, with I have nosebleeds from time to time. I had a couple during Pagliacci, matter of fact, here in Sydney, and that created a bit of a problem for me, but Maureen Howard, who was playing opposite me at the time, was very good to me. They're giving me the little cotton wool plugs. She was carrying them, I was plugging them up my nose and stopped the bleeding.
Well, your family plays a very important part in your life.
It's the most important part of my life, Brian. I more or less worked, I have ever since I've been singing, worked opera around my family, not my family around opera. In other words, if it interferes with my family, well, then I just don't do it.
Well, the critics and your fans say you're singing at your peak. How much longer will you sing?
I don't know, Brian. That's in the hands of the joke upstairs.
In 1973, Donald Smith had two outstanding personal triumphs. He appeared in the opening performances in the Opera Theatre and Concert Hall of the Sydney Opera House, and he was awarded the Order of the British Empire for services to music. The Australian Opera credits him with being the first resident artist to receive such an award.
And the other one, yes. Right.
To his vast number of fans, this was in some measure an official recognition of what they've long contended, that the one-time cane cutter is one of the most exciting singers Australia has produced.
I think I'd like to go through this. I'm always a bit dicky about this part here. Would you sing on his part, because he does change the tempo a little bit here, love.
Yes,
so can we go from there, will you?
Rather dangerous, right.
Yes. And give me the beat, will
yes,
you?
I'll set a tempo that I think he'll probably take. E come speri sottrateli non eri sai pensi al re al volere dopo la godina
Oh, dimmi Aida.
How about this?
Nel fierro nell'itodina de guerra il solo etiope si ridestò i tuoi chiamarono la nostra terra io delle gizze non ci sarò François fra i clausi della vittoria a re mi prostro gli sveo il cor sarà del seno della mia gloria vivremo beati dai che l'amore sarà il seno della mia gloria vivremo beati dai che l'amore. I think, what do you reckon?
Yeah, well, give or take a crop to here or there.
That's about the tempo, yeah. Thanks, Carolina.
With a little bit of luck, it'll be right.
Okay, love. Well, I suppose I better go and get ready to...
Out on stage, I'll watch you while you're out there.
All right, will you take the notes for me?
I'll take any notes, anything that happens, I'll
Okay.
let you know after.
Better backstage.
After.
Thanks, babe.
Good luck.
Thanks, darling.